session. Great to see in this event, but I think that could be everyone done and dusted in terms of the time. Tim Stainer is going to come across the line. The last guy across the line, even he's currently 24th. Don't think it's really on an improving one. That's Kane Lasky, well down by his high standards. And Stainer, in fact, well, he's going to remain 24th, so no improvement for him as that's qualifying done. The door slams shut on that part of this session, and let's take you into your grid for the first race of this evening. Angie Lynn starting on pole, there's Dario Frattini, the Italian on the front row with him, and All Masters second row in form of Yogmani, Antonio Race. Sentkowski and Overstreet start on row 3. Row 4 is Dan Sadjo and Matt Zirbs. Jason Green and Simon Mayer make up row 5, and you round out your top 10. Then row 6 sees James Walker and Tom Laurie. Highest qualified Tom in the Spec 2 category. And then we've got Kuhn and Stevens making up row 10 and 20th position. That's Stevie Ray and Caleb Pocock, Paul Jackson and Tim Staino on row 12. With row 13 is going to be Jesse Bottas and Jeff Saunders. Someone who I'm not going to mention his name for joining as a driver rather than a viewer. Alongside Greg Holland. Evandro Dantes not setting a time, neither did Carlos Navarro to round the top 30 and complete your grid.
I just wanted to get on the grid, obviously, just to experience the atmosphere in these little cars, you know what I mean? And,
yeah, I do.
I've fulfilled a lifelong dream now, so I'm a happy chappy.
Tick that one off the bucket list.
Nothing about my mistake or whatever. It's nothing like that.
No, it's not. It's not whatsoever. We'll glaze over that one. You're not the first one. I did it last season, so we're all guilty, as much as I do remember. Well, everyone's just lining up behind. We're going to get this one underway. Half an hour of racing in the Formula Fords here in the runoffs on Apex Racing TV. Who is going to get it? Who's going to make it through? Who's going to survive the big one, if there is one? Or even just their own events. Keeping out of the wall so crucial. Safety car, well, that's in as we look across the circuit as they round the final corner. And let's get ready to go racing, folks, as we're green and we are away. And Lynn caught napping a little bit there. Frattini already ahead. The Italian absolutely flying. And Antonio Race having a bit of a look right around the outside. They're still side by side pretty much through turn 1. And well, looks like we've all made it through somehow, but they're too wide, and they're even 3 wide as we head up the hill for the first time this evening, Andy.
Yeah, it definitely is coming down the mountain straight to Griffin's Bend to start the very first route through the mountain section. You can just see there Lynn and Frattini literally side by side on the mountain straight coming up to the Griffin's Bend. It's probably not advisable to go side by side, so they're going to have to sort themselves out, certainly coming up through the cutting the very first time, but it's all going to be frenetic through this part of the section.
You say they have to sort themselves out. They're still not sorting themselves out here as we still remain side by side, and finally Lynn just getting the advantage, or does he? Frattini just hopping across that curb there, and still side by side as we head up the hill. It's advantage for Frattini now as Lynn just having to slot in behind the Italian. And wow, finally they sort themselves out. Andrew Lev having a shocking start. He's down 5 places into 18th. James Walker, I think something might have happened to him. He's descended down through the order as we head for our skyline for the first time this evening. What are you seeing, Andy?
Somebody just bouncing off the wall there, just coming down in through the McFinney Park section. Luckily managing to save it, but was looking a little bit dodgy there. Hit the wall on the outside of the track there, but managed to save the car. So that was a close one to spinning the car around there.
Meanwhile, back up front, they're still having to go at one another. Frattini and Lynn will not leave each other alone. They're all over one another. They can throw the perennial blanket over each other as we head down Collinrod towards the chase. Yorgmani, he's got a front row seat to this action here, as who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Lynn on left, Frattini on the right. Here we go, folks, and Frattini's going to do it round the outside of Lynn. Job done, back in the lead, but for how much longer? As we head down towards Murray's Corner, are they going to see a change for the lead? Once again, Lee looking incredibly racy, thinks about the lunge, dips back out the the position on the inside, tucks up behind once more. As we've got a bit of a gap opening up. Who's that into the pits? That's Mark Carson. Shame for him. He made up 5 places off the start. And Lynn goes for Ticini once again. He's back into the lead, but now becomes the drag out of hell corner up Mountain Straight. And I get the feeling it's going to be all changed once more. Someone running right in the background there. I think that's Aaron Vogel, just having a bit of an excursion out of hell corner.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you got the battle of the Masters here. Reese and Marnie, Reese in third, Marnie in fourth, literally side by side coming up, as well as the front two are side by side again coming up through Griffin's Bend. These two are battling super hard. Lynn just managing to get ahead of Frattini coming again through the mountain section, up through the cutting, but these two drivers are just swapping places all over the track, and a lot of them at many unsuspecting parts of the track as well, so they really are being super racy out on track. Marnie is currently leading the Masters there in third place, Antonio Reese in fourth, literally just behind him. Megan Overstreet has made up 1 place from where she started in 5th place, and has probably got prime viewing angles now. The race in front of her, a little bit of a gap in shooting, but she has got a lot of cars following on behind her.
Going to make it a bit easier with the way those top two are battling. They're definitely slowing up the pace, which is enabling this big gaggle of cars to remain close to one another. It goes all the way back to Simon Mayer in 10th. Kane Lasky's up 6 places. I said to watch out for him. Caleb Pocock's had a great start too. Caleb's up 6 as well into 16th. Looking back from Frattini, that is York Marnie. Wow, Lynn, half a second. That's the biggest advantage we've seen between those two. But look at the gap just dropping in the top left corner. It's down to 4 attempts. It's into 3 attempts. He's bringing Marnie along for the ride as they hop across that bit of a bump there through Conrad. And it's Marnie going to have Frattini here down into the chase. Outside everyone. Frattini has a look at Lynn instead. But they all back out once more. And Lynn still remains in front.
Yeah, it definitely is. That slipstream super strong down the Conrad straight, but unfortunately Frattini not able to make the pass there on Lynn. Looking up the inside here, Murray corner, thinking better of it, just nips back into line to try and get that strip. The slipstream effect, come down through Hell Corner and down through the mountain straight again to try and get alongside to get. You really want that inside line coming up through the Griffin's Bend, but it's certainly fast and frenetic at the front. We're starting to see the top 3 slightly moving away from Antonio Reese in 4th. But looking further back, looking at Simon Mayer, currently in P10, pretty much where he started out on the grid, but does have a little bit of a challenger now by Lasky, who is certainly the man on the move in this field.
He is indeed, but he's got that big margin to make up, hasn't he? 5.3 seconds. In fact, he's dropped back a couple of places. I think he was ahead of Aaron Vogel. So something clearly happened to Lasky there. Was having to push so hard. So that's Jeff Jacobson running it in a bit deep. Tom Laurie says, thank you very much. I'll have that place from you. Richard Coffey just sneaking through as well. Battles up and down the field. Now, the drivers do have to make a pit stop in this half-hour race. At least drive through the pits at minimum.
Yeah, and it's got to be under green. It's got to be under green flag conditions as well. So they can't use any advantage to them. So it's got to be during the racing out on track. So it's going to be a little bit of fun and games coming in, and the usual Weekend Warrior pit stop strategy is coming in of when you're actually going to go into that pit stop. But looking at Uraxi Lynn, Frattini has managed to get past Lynn for that top spot. These two are just changing places like a deck of cards shuffling in this race so far, and it's going to go all the way down. It's either going to be a mistake that causes one of these drivers to get out, or this is going to be an ensuing for a whole entire 30-minute race.
Oh, I can't wait for it. I mean, we've still got, what, 23 minutes left of this one. But it keeps up like this. Well, these two boys surely are going to run out of steam for the next one. We've still got another race to come. And the SRS again from Bathurst. And well, they love to slipstream even more than the Formula 4s. But Lynn's still ahead. Marnie's still remaining in touch right now. He has a bit of a look. Antonio Race is starting to fall back a little bit. 7 tenths behind. Our breakaway top 3, if you can call them really a breakaway, as they come across the line. I mean, it was advantage Yang Lin last time around. It is again. He sets the fastest lap of the race. In fact, it's exactly the same time as Frattini. That is how evenly matched those two, as Megan Overstreet says, hold my beer, watch this, and goes faster than everyone on track right now. Well, with that sort of pace, I get a feeling she's going to try and make a move here on Antonio Race. But we've got a replay. Let's see what happened here. Here's him stay now. Ooh. We all know what's coming.
We see what's coming, don't we?
We can. Oh, I wasn't expecting that one. Well, I tell you what, I'm not sure who it was who was coming back through there. I think it might have been Darren Kuhn. But evaded it, well, by luck, I think, more than anything whatsoever. But there's Overstreet. She's got it done. She is ahead of Race, up into 4th.
That's quite a good move, because Antonio Reese was obviously, during the season, always the top 3, really. So a great pass there from Megan Overstreet.
I'll get to see exactly how she's done here. I get the feeling up the inside into Quarry Bend, Andy. Yep, there we go. Pulls out of the slipstream. And it's hard to know where to look. I was just casting my eyes on the foreground of that shot that we had. See what was happening there as well, as Marnie just ran in a little bit deep, so evenly matched those top 3, tripping up over one another. But that display, Sentowski, I think something's happened to him, because I've just watched him tumble down through the order. It's all happening here as we head out of Forest Elbow. It's down Conrad one more time.
Yeah, definitely is. Lynn managing to keep that number 1 position, but Vertini will be pushing him. You can see there in time and tar, literally alongside 100th of a second, and there you go. Vertini manages to take back the lead again. I mean, this straight is just insane with the amount of slipstream effect. We can see Megan Overstreet here just trying to put some pressure on Antonio Reese. Antonio taking back that position after losing it earlier on down the mountain straight to Megan Overstreet. But them 2 straights are winners and losers for this race. So you've really got to take that into consideration now. The guys will know how strong that is. As you see Marnie there just looking at you, actually, Lynn, and you actually just having to go a little bit wide there, managing to keep the position, but losing a little bit of time to Frattini in front. But that will be closed down as they come through Hell's Corner again to start another lap. This is lap number 5. We're only just tipping 10 minutes into this race, another 20 minutes to go. I mean, it's just been action-packed so far, but the next 20 minutes is, I'm sure, is going to get even more spicier.
There's Overstreet getting the move done on Antonio Race. That's remaining in tow with these top 3 that are still tripping over with one another. Lynn just getting shoved out wide. Is Marnie going to capitalise in this one as they drag up the hill out of Quarry Bend towards the cutting? And Lynn's still just about makes in front, and that gives Frattini that bit of breathing space that he's probably been desperate for since we got on the way 10 minutes and 25 seconds ago. But up the hill once more, through Solomon Park, through to McPhillamy. We drop down into Skyline. It's all about keeping your car intact, maintaining that rhythm. One small mistake, it's going to cost you. It could even bring people out with you. Oh, I
mean, he's got 5 cars in the mix now. What's the top 3 slightly getting away from Antonio, but Antonio and Megan have been battling quite hard, but quite fair, and using the slipstream between each other, and have managed to claw the way back up to the top 3 now. So it's a 5-way battle between Frattini in first, with Lynn, Marnie, Overstreet, and Reese. Then there's a big gap back to Maya in 6th place. So these 5 cars have managed to break away from the rest of the pack. So these will be fighting with each other, and Marnie at the moment seems super racy with Lynn. You can just see him there in the background in the number 4 car, just coming alongside Lynn for that 2nd place. Does have that inside line here, so is in the advantageous position coming through the chase, having the inside, but it's nearing a 3 wide. Frattini thought he had got away with Marnie and fighting out, and he managed to get, but there's contact between the 2, and Overstreet profits below, but she goes extremely wide as well. The car's behind Frattini at the moment. You can see they're 2 wide here coming into Murray's Corner. Wow, that was a twitchy set of corners there coming through the chase.
And it's Yang Chi Lin, the big loser. He's down 4 places into 5th right now, Andy. And all the work to do. Frattini, nearest damn it, 2 seconds the advantage over this lot after they were less scrambling and trying to avoid one another through the chase. They need to work together if they want to close that gap down.
100%. I mean, that was obviously caused by the overtake, or Marnie's overtake there on Lynn, which caused the gap to Fatini in front of Fatini. Now needs to really push on to try and keep it, but he's not been able to. It was 1.9, it's now down to 1.7. So the guys here, Marnie, Overstreet, Reese and Lynn, just need to follow in suit, just to pull back Fatini, because if they carry on fighting like they have been, Fatini will be able to get away from this, break the slipstream, and then will be out on his own. So these 4 drivers just need to work together a little bit to close down that gap, certainly down the Conrod straight, using the slipstream and just use it effective and not try to do any blocking moves or anything like that to claw back Fatini, because if they don't, he's going to be out in the distance and these 4 are going to be fighting over second place.
Good news, Andy. They've taken 3 attempts out of the Italian already across the top of the hill. In fact, make that 4 attempts as he's playing it safe. He needs to. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. 13 minutes into this 30-minute race right now. As everyone, you can hear the suspension, the grumbling as the cars bottom out as they descend down through the dipper and in towards Fotter's elbow. But now comes the slipstream, now comes the chance to work together. But they've all spaced out. That's that little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, it definitely is. Those gaps will close probably by the chase, but I don't think there'll be an opportunity for an overtaking move. Apart from Antonio Ruiz, who a very unorthodox passing move, it does seem that Lim was able to do coming down through the dipper in the S's. So a very ambitious move there for Lin to get past.
Fertini's off! Fertini's gone! He's gone!
Oh. Pushed it a little bit too hard going through that, but I don't know why, because he was not under pressure. He was not the driver that was under pressure. It was obviously Megan Overstreet and Lynn in second and third. He was out on his own on there. So let's have a look back and see what happened. Probably just lost it or hit a curb coming down there, as he's seen coming down through the chase here. Let's have a look at his line and see what happens. Does he just tip a tyre onto the grass? Yes, he does. He hits that inside curb, which takes the inner wheels off and spins the car around. He'll be kicking himself inside his rig.
Of course, we have those new grass and gravel textures here on iRacing. Thanks to the latest updates ahead of the new season starting next week. But clearly he's getting a little bit caught out as he heads into pit road. Gets his pit stop out, done and dusted, out of the way.
That's probably a really good call, actually. He'll be really frustrated with what he just done, and having to trip through the pit lane is just a way to calm himself down before recompose himself. He knows he's got the speed to be able to try and make it back. He wasn't that far behind the top 5, so he really just needs to settle in now and get back onto the pace. As you see him just passing Mayer there to get up, and now has a little bit of a gap to just try and stretch his legs. But back at the front, Overstreet again has managed to get away with Lynn and Reese battling hard in second and third. That first place seems to be the way you want to be, because second and third are just fighting all over themselves.
Something's happened to Jorg Marnie. He's jumped to the pits, Andy. I think he's had a big incident somewhere.
Well, I mean, just judging by where they're at, it's got to be either Griffin's Bend or up through the cuttings out on track. So obviously, I'm sure we'll be able to get a replay of what happened to Jorg Marnie. But the group of 5 that we were watching a couple of laps ago is now down to 3, with Megan Overstreet currently leading. But Lynn is right onto the back of Megan Overstreet's cars, and this looks like it's a writing on the wall coming down the Conrod Stead with the power of the slipstream. We see Lynn just pulling out of the car. Will have that inside line for the first part of the chase. Well, manages to get it done before then. That just shows you the power of the slipstream here. Megan Overstreet had a gap just at the start of the mountain section, but by the end here of the lap is Yuaxi Lin has managed to take over where he started the race in first place.
Well, the Battle of Bathurst is definitely turning out to be a war of attrition here at Mount Panorama. They're falling by the wayside up front. It's like nobody wants to win this one. And 10 races getting a little bit loose there out of Murray's corner, having to correct it. It'll cost him a little bit of time. Dan Sadro into the pits from 4th. I mean, this driver's well down the order. We haven't even mentioned, like Jason Green, incredibly strong normally. He's struggling a little bit here today. Lots of drivers really struggling with this challenging circuit. So we head up the hill once more. 13 minutes left on the clock. Who's going to get this one? There's Satro heading out of the pits. Some more fuel on board. He's going to come out in about, 8th place. So that's a solid result for him. He's only down one spot, but as you can see from the graphic in the top left corner, nobody in front of him has stopped. He's not too far off the likes of Coffee and Jacobson. Maybe Aaron Vogel should jump as well. It's also got Jackson and Saunders into pit row 2. Meanwhile, back at front, I think they've all seen what's happening around them, and they've all just calmed down a little bit right now. As well, here comes a replay, and that's right. So there's York Marnie. We're going to find out what happened to him. I mean, you talk about pressure being off earlier, the Frattini one, and you called it exactly right, Andy. Just lost the rear, got going again. Oh, and then touched the wall. Oh, it's one of those. It's such a tricky place to have to rejoin. Oh, and he's hitting the wall. I'm guessing it's going to have broken suspension, and that's why you end up jumping to the pits.
Yeah, either that or he's done the sportsman thing because he was in such a precarious position there. That cutting, it's very blind, so when the cars are coming around behind, you know, if he had pulled out a little bit further than what he did, he would have been literally a roll-in roadblock, and the cars would have hit him. So probably did the right thing, but unfortunately that is him out of the race. We got 2 of the front runners at the start of this race, Frattini and Marnie, and now it gives over to Lynn, who was our leader at the start of the race. Megan Overstreet up 4 places where she started, so the top 3 do come into the pits using literally all the road and some to go through as we watch the cars coming through the pit lane. Just literally have to drive through here in this session. Same with the SRFs as well. But let's have a look. But look at Green. You were mentioning Green struggling. He is now shot to the front, but he still has to do his drive through. But having his little moment of glory here is Jason Green after not probably having the best of races in his season.
No, it's definitely not been the strongest. Drivers has mentioned, yeah, they don't actually have to stop. They don't need to take fuel. They will get home on the tank that they have. So Jason, ever the expert, the guru for Weekend Warriors when it comes to fuel conservation. You have to wonder where he's got, you know, a place on the board at Greenpeace. He conserves that much fuel and looking to protect the sim racing environment with it. But, I mean, as you said, he's at 8 places right now. However, those are going to fall. So where have our lead group come out, Andy? Well, they are 7 seconds behind him, but they're still clear of Coffee and Co., who's in 5th place right now. So, in terms of retirements, who have we lost? Frattini, Marnie, Mayer, Pocock, and Lasky. Wow, some real big hitters out of that list. I mean, Pocock had an electric start. Lasky qualified well down. Frattini and Marnie, we saw there in Simon Mayer, another strong driver. Always in the top 10, Mr. Consistent in that sense. Well, he's another one who's fallen foul of the curse of the mountain.
Yeah, it definitely is. But it is a tricky track and a tricky car combo. I mean, I absolutely love watching Bathurst. I think it's absolutely great. As you see, Megan Overstreet thinks she's losing control, but that is her driving style. She likes to slide around the corners, but unfortunately lost a little bit of a gap there to Lynn. Well, I'm pretty sure that will close up coming down this.
You say that, Andy, not too much, because on that one board, I did clock Lynn had locked what I assume would have been his front left. Just coming into that corner because there was a bit of a puff of smoke. So between the pair of them, I think they neutralised one another there. On board with Senkowski, another driver who had a bit of an issue earlier on, hence why he's down 8 places. And he is yet to stop as well, so that's a disappointing debut for the German. Currently behind Darren Kuhn there. Andrew Love just in front of them too. Of which Kuhn yet to stop. Love has stopped. Love stopped very, very early on from my memory. I think he stopped on lap 1 or 2. Currently on lap 10.
Yeah, it definitely is. But that was a great picture angle just to show the suspension and how hard it's working. You know, the compression when it comes down through the S's and through Skyline, down through the dipper, you can just see it compressing. And when a car compresses its suspension that much, it's super hard to get the car turned around. So you've got to be smooth, which is probably what has caught a few of the drivers out. You know, certainly up through the cuttings that we saw York Marnie earlier on. coming up through the change of elevation, literally coming up over the hill, down, and then almost like on a plateau for the cutting, and the suspension just like goes super loose on these cars, which makes it super hard, and you've got to be really consistent, which is unusual for Jorgman, because he normally is really consistent in the way that he does his steering inputs, but unfortunately got caught out slightly. But there's so many different parts of this track is super challenging in a car that was made for this track, never mind these little Formula Fords that are probably never seen around this track in real life, to be able to get around. But these two at the front, Lynn and Overstreet, currently in second and third, but we still have Jason Green to make his pit stop. So what we're watching on screen now is your battle for first place, and these two are locked in a battle, pretty much like the first 5 minutes of this race, but it's going to be entertaining. Now currently 23 minutes, 7 minutes left to survive the Bathurst, and who is going to come out on top?
Oh, we've got a replay. What's happened to someone? Well, Jeff Jacobson all by himself, the American. Is that corner again? It's Corey Bend. Oh, just bumped the curves a bit too much. Lost the rear. Does he? Oh, I can't quite flick it around for the J-turn. Nearly, Jeff. Back to this battle for the lead, Andy, and I think this is all just calm. Right, Green's into the pits. Interesting to see where he comes out. So he will lose the lead. Lynn and Overstreet will come past. You just saw him in the back of the picture there, just heading through the final turn. Those with eagle-eyed ears, we'll hear them go past. There you go, moving across to them. So they're through. Race will get through as well, but I think this means that Jason Green is going to come out net P4 at the end of this, ahead of Coffee and Sadro and Co. So that's going to be a great result. Yeah, just clock him in the background there, coming out of pit lane exits, just past Hell Corner. But he will lose a bit of time just getting up to speed, just lacking that momentum there. He's okay. So, right. Good result for Green now. He's up into fourth. That's brought him at 5 places overall.
Yeah. Richard Coffey still has to make a transition through the pit stop. So the gap between Jason Green and Dan Sadro is quite considerable. So he has about a 6-second gap between himself. So he's in a good position, although it does show the top ones haven't stopped, but we certainly know that they have. So the battle out in front between actually Lynn and Megan Overstreet is now coming to the sharp end, really. They've done their pit stops. It's now all out on track. 5 minutes left, and a great onboard view of that. You just look at the suspension, see how much it's working down through the section. Certainly here, it just literally slams in at the bottom of the dipper. And it's super hard to make that car turn when the suspension's sort of doing that on track. But actually then just managing to get a little bit of a gap, but it will be neutralised coming down this Conrad Straight to Megan Overstreet. But do you know what? In a way, I do hope that Megan can get this one done, because she's always been the bridesmaid, never been the bride in the series. You know, always getting them podium positions, but I don't remember actually winning a race. I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong there, Tim, but it'd be great for her to win this week 13. So no unbiased there, but yeah, I'm sort of rooting for Megan that she can get this one done.
Wow, Formula Drift more like there, going through the chase. SRF, yes, Andy, she's our reigning champion though in the Formula Fords.
She is very consistent.
Incredibly on the podium for every race bar 2, I believe, which were the ones, ironically, I didn't turn up to in the season. Hashtag just saying.
Hashtag your omen.
Clearly, yeah, good luck charm. I mean, yeah, well, I mean, poor her if I'm her good luck charm. That's for sure. Wouldn't wish that on anyone whatsoever. Just see Andrew Love now. He's on the back of Mark Carter, and Sankowski is there. Oh, kicking up a bit of dust there on the exit, out of the chase, down towards Murray Corner. A little bit spaced out, but that gap will compress as Coffee into the pit. He's left it late, 27 minutes. That's pretty much the last opportunity for him to come through pit road. Why does he come out? Just in front of Aaron Vogelay, who's going to get past him due to the fact that Aaron's got that speed coming and the momentum out of Hell Corner. And that is why Coffee's just dropped that one place, but for now, because there's still some key overtaking opportunities to come. And looking at their lap time, they're going to have... Well, this is the penultimate lap. They're going to take white flag next time around.
Yeah, it definitely is. And that is the battle for S2. Coffrey just leaving it super late to the last possible moment to dive in. And now battle is on for that S2 like it is for the S1 out in front. So at the moment, Voglay's got that position, but Coffrey is tucked up behind him, which will give him the advantage coming down the Cardinal Straight. So could be a change of positions in that S2. But Richard Coffrey's had a very quiet race, but has come on strong. He's up 11 places from where he started this race. So although we haven't really spoken about him, has just chipped away throughout the whole entire event and is looking at a race win in that S2 if he can get past Aaron Vogelay there in P number 6. Just looking at the big movers in the sheet, and it is Stevie Ray. We haven't mentioned him at all this race, the sponsor of this Week 13 event. In P8, up 13 positions from where he started. So a great day, and second in the Masters. So profiting from a few of the big names coming out.
Lynn, the man on the move, pushing hard, coming onto this final lap, setting the new fastest lap of the race. Although Overstreet going quicker, but due to an off track, that time deleted. Interesting all to play for there here. This white flag in the air. It's one to go, one set of opportunities, all or nothing. Here in the first of the races in the runoffs. And who's going to get it? Will it be Lynn? Will it be Overstreet? Can they hold their nerve up through the mountain, Andy? Let's find out.
Definitely is, and Megan Overstreet is in the prime position at the moment if she can keep it close behind Lynn and getting a really good move out of the forest elbow to get maximum use of that beam effect. At the moment, she's pushing it to the absolute limit. She is known for sliding the car around quite a bit during this season, but has really got to try and keep it nice and smooth and consistent, certainly down through the skyline, through the S's and the dipper, to try and maintain this gap as we ride on board here with Megan, looking at the back of Yuaxi Lin's car, coming down through the downhill section of this track, and you can just see how the track just falls away. Lynn is just super quick through that part of the section. Open up a little tiny gap here. What is the exit going to be like for Megan through Forest Elbow? She needs a really good exit here to try and make the passing opportunity down the Conrad Straight.
Don't think she's going to do it, Andy. 7 tenths is the gap, the advantage that Yuaxi Lin has as we head down the hill, down the mountain for the final time this evening in the Formula Fords. And the gap is shrinking, but I think it's too little, too late from Overstreet here as we descend down into the chase. Can they make it through? Of course, it's what we saw Alina Frattini lose it under no pressure whatsoever. Overstreet losing the rear once again and holding it together, but Lynn just has one corner left to go. It's through Murray's and then a short run to the line to bring it home to win the first race of this evening in the Formula 4. Yuaxi Lin is your winner. Overstreet in the end has to sell for second.
Yeah, again, the usual position for Megan's second place overall, but she won't be disappointed in that at all, up 4 places from where she... Let's have a look at this battle here for the top of the F2. Vogel managed to keep it in front of Richard Coffrey, unfortunately not being able to keep it close enough coming out of Forest Elbow. So this looks like Richard, after a great race overall, up 11 positions from where he started, is going to be coming in second in the S2. Aaron up 9 places from where he started, so these two have had a great race in the Spec 2s, but Aaron wins out the battle in the S2 class.
That I do believe, from my recollection, my notes, that is Aaron's first class win in Spec 2 in the Formula Fords. So great, that's across the whole of the 2 presiding seasons that we've had in the Formula 4s here on Weekend Warriors. So that is an astonishing result for him to hold on at a track like this and come in 9 places up on where he started. Having started 15th. Wow, great results, great racing all round. As you mentioned, Stevie Ray, your highest placed climber, he's up 13 into 8th. But we lost some big names along the way. That helped them, but they had to be there to capitalise. Matt Zerbs comes across the line. We'll be a bit disappointed by that one, crossing in 15th. We'll be able to have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers shortly. Just wait for the last few people to come across the line. There's one who's a disappointing one. It's Tom Laurie, down 5 spots. So we just wait for everyone to come across the line. As I know we need to head across into the next race. Let's have a quick chat as she sat there waiting patiently to Megan Overstreet. Megan, I mean, wow, what a wild ride that was. At least that's how it appeared for us here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, it was a tough race. That pace was insane.
I mean, between Dario Frattini and Yangshi Lin and obviously York Marnie, I mean, they were battling away. You missed the forward at some point. You know, it felt like you're being held up by Antonio Race. You need to get the move done. I mean, how relieved were you when you did?
Yeah, I was very happy once I got around him because he was holding me up just a little bit. But that draft, it makes such a huge difference where you can be behind quite a bit going on that back straight, and it'll just suck you right on up to the group ahead of you.
That's exactly what you need. And I mean, got to be a bit disappointing to, you know, not complete the set, having won obviously the championship and then obviously not quite making it into the, you know, winning the runoffs. But I mean, Yangshi, I mean, coming onto that final lap, do you feel like it was just completely gone, or were you you're just praying something happened to him coming across the mountain?
I was hoping he'd have a small mistake because he was so much faster than I was in the downhill section. I just could not keep up, so he's able to build a good gap there every time to where I couldn't do anything on the back straight with the draft.
Well, Megan, we'll let you get on and across to the next session. Congratulations on your second. That's Megan Overstreet, second here today in the Formula Fords on Bathurst. Well, Andy, we'll sit tight. We'll go for the results. We'll sit tight, see if anyone else emerges quickly. Yangshi Lin, as you mentioned, runs out your winner here today in the Formula Fords, the first of the double header in the runoffs. Overstreet second. Taylor Race winning in Masters on the podium overall. Then it's Jason Green. Great strat from him to climb 5 places to come 4th. Then Dan Sadro, he had another solid race despite mistakes. Vogley, well, astonishing result for him. First ever win in what a way to do it here in the runoffs. Richard Coffey second in class. Ray second in Masters. He was up 13 spots. Coffey up 11 as well, so great result for him. Sedkowski didn't quite have the result he wanted to come home 9th. Andrew Love running out the top 10 and 3rd in Masters. Then it's Kuhn, Jackson, Walker, Saunders, Zerbs, Jackson, Laurie, Stevens, Stano. Last drivers finish on the lead lap. The 1 lap down was Jesse Bottas, Mark Carter and Greg Holden 2 laps down into retirements. We lost Frattini and Marnie on lap 6, and so was Simon Mayer. Caleb Pocock we lost in lap 5, Lasky on lap 3, and then Navarro, Thompson and Dantes did not make the start. Well, as no one else has joined us, should we head across into the next station, Andy?
I think so. I think this has been a great entry into what these two events is, and I'm hoping the SRFs do just as much justice.
Well, I'm sure they're going to. Sit tight, everyone. We're going to head to a quick commercial break, but we'll be back on the other side from Bathurst. It'll be the SRFs. Sit tight. That's going to be a wild ride. We'll see you shortly.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS. Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line,
Welcome back. It's time for the SRFs qualifying. Well, just about getting it's underway right now. Who's going to get the second pole position of the evening? They've joined us at a crucial time. First lap time starting to come onto the board as well. I can tell you, Jason Green is topping the timing sheets at the moment, this early stage. But crucially, Andy, two Aussies in the top five in the form of Phil Berry and Tom Gradwell.
Yes, welcome back, viewers, to part two of this doubleheader. I mean, first race was absolutely epic, and I'm pretty sure that this one's going to be the same. And I'm just thinking, have the drivers who were in the Fords got a little bit of an advantage here at the moment, been in a super competitive race. Know what it's all about, different characteristics of the cars, but we'll be having a lot more understanding of the track and where to push it. So there might be a slight little advantage, and you can see there with Jason Green finishing fourth in the Formula Fords there, topping the timing tower at the moment, near enough 2 seconds ahead of Dantas in second place. So a great lap for Jason there, just riding high on his fourth place in the Formula Fords. But I'm pretty sure we're going to expect exactly the same as we saw in the Formula Fords, Tim.
You made me panic there. You said 2 seconds. It's only 2 tenths, Andy.
2 tenths.
I was like, what's going on? What's Jason Green found? No, that's not even what we saw from Marco Panera at Long Beach a couple of seasons ago, where he demolished the field. But Overstreet just pipping him by just under a tenth. Big hitters, big names. We've got, people still to set lap times. It's most of the field, in fact. Watch out for the likes of Flavio and Darley still to set a time. Frattini, after we saw his great display for a big mistake at the chase in the Formula Fords. Lasky still to set a time. Yogmani still to set a time. And will Andreas Bertoni set a time, or will he do his usual, start from the back and see where he comes? Slightly longer race, 40 minutes this one though, Andy. Usual fodder in Weekend Warriors, so that might be an advantage, or it might not be, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not like a usual track that the drivers will be used to, so I think it creates an even playing field. Yeah, the car characteristics are the same as the rest of the season, but the track is a completely different track. You know, it's so undulating, and like you mentioned at the start of the broadcast, you know, there's two separate parts of this track, and we're just watching dancers coming through. You know, the mountain section, which is a tight, twisty corners, and you got to be really smooth on your inputs. Try not to hit the curbs, we just saw Bobby West do, because it will unsettle the cars massively. And then you get out of the Conrod Straight. It's going to be interesting to see what the slipstream effect in what I call the bathtubs are going to be like down the Conrod Straight, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just as epic as we saw in the Formula Fords. But just looking at the timing tower, Megan Overstreet was there very shortly, and Lynn has managed to get to the top of the timing tower, 0.08 of a second ahead of Overstreet there. But the main protagonists again from the Formula Ford are at the top of this SRF.
Well, we're going to see someone else take the challenge to them. Is it going to be a big advantage like Lynn has right now over everyone? Could be nearly as dramatic as the beer limit they imposed at this circuit for fans of the Bathurst 1000 all the way back in 2009. We're see fans to just 24 cans of full-strength beer per day, or 36 cans of light beer. Shocking stuff.
There we go.
Didn't stop though. Well, it didn't stop some fans coming to the circuit weeks in advance and burying beer on site though, Andy. I'd like to throw that one in.
I would imagine so. I mean, 24 hours going to get very thirsty viewing these cars. But another useful fact, do you know why Hell's Corner is called Hell's Corner?
No, I don't, Andy. Please tell me.
So basically, when they back in the day when they used to do motorcycle races around there used to be a tree on the exit of Hell's Corner, and the drivers named it Hell's Corner because they said if you come off through Hell's Corner, you would hit that tree and you would be basically going to the other side. So that's how it got its name of Hell Corner. There used to be a tree there. It's now not there, but it still kept its name as Hell Corner. So there you go, a useful bit of, or useless bit of trivia if anybody wanted to know why it's called Hell's Corner.
Just on board with Overstreet, seeing dancing in. Well, how there, Megan Overstreet. Oh, well, context curse, spoke too soon, and this is going to be a collision. Yes, it is, with Bradford Gould. I think that was just heading through. I hold it right to the last part, through the dipper there. That big compression just hurting them. Juan Rodriguez, great qualifying from the Spaniard to be in 6th. Another newcomer to the series. Great to have new names on board. I said, would Andreas Paterni try to set a lap here in the runoffs? The answer to that is yes. And he's currently 2nd. But still a whopping, a mammoth 6/10 off of Yang Lin. But he only 0.03 of a second separating Bertoni. Funny, that difference between the front and the second row.
Absolutely insane, isn't it? You'd be a very brave man trying to go from the back of the field to the front of the field in this track. You know, certainly like we saw before, if this part of the section here, somebody has a slight little mistake, can cause a big pile up. We didn't see it in the Formula Fords, and hopefully we're not going to see it in these SRF, but it's more than likely in this track than any other track to have a flat one exactly that But that incident there, we see that on the opening lap, is going to be extremely hard for the rest of the field, which are going to be at full race pace. And the problem is, as well, is what you don't see it until you come around the corner, and then you've literally got nowhere to go. These cars are not renowned for their stopping power, so it's literally going to be, you're going to go into the car, unfortunately. So you're relying on a lot of the drivers either doing the right thing and getting off the track as soon as physically possible, or there could be a big issue. So going from the back of the field is probably not a wise decision on this Bathurst track.
No, and well, you get the set of times are Dario Frattini and Jeff Horniak. Bradford Cooled on his first flying lap. On board with York Marnie right now. He starts a new lap. Will he go faster on that existing one though? Answer that is no. Oh, he was on an out lap though, apologies. So, what can he do on this lap of discovery? And looking at it, so get across the line. Well, if he pulls out a decent lap here, Andy, he'll get across the line just in time to go one more time around Bathurst to improve on third and get up onto that front row. But my golly, it's going to take a mammoth lap for someone to knock Yang Lin off that top step.
Yeah, it definitely is. But Jason Green is in a good position at the moment. Does have the slipstream here of Marnie, so we'll be gaining an advantage over there. It's whether York Marnie has a decent lap to be able to pull along Jason Green and the car behind it. I haven't worked out who that is at the moment. Car number 212.
That's Alan McCain.
So basically, getting a nice slipstream off each other, and as long as York Marnie does this top section in a good time, Jason Green will be in a good position coming onto the Conrad Straight to use that slipstream effect to gain a couple of attempts to maybe try and close down that 0.6 of a second gap that Yang Ling has at the top of the timing tower.
Kane down in 15th at the moment, second highest of the Spec 2 qualifiers. Of course, our reigning champion in Spec 2. Mammoth season from McCain, well deserved from him as well. I was speaking to him a week ago about it, and how relieved was he, and looking for a good run here in the runoffs. As we head down Conrad Straight now towards the absolutely epic chase. On board with Green. These cars love to slipstream, and Green in a prime position right now. You can see how much he's gaining on Marnie. He's going to let him come past. Let them both come past, in fact. Onto the brakes they come. Now, what sort of times are they going to set? They need a mammoth last two corners here from the pair of them to climb through the order. Let's find out, Andy. Let's find out through the final corner. Green in 6th. 226.68, his previous best. This feels faster. Surely it's going to be faster, and it's good enough for second. And only a tip, and McCain goes third.
Yeah, definitely a big advantage here from the slipstream. So they've, I think the old York Marnie and Bia there, the pair of them, certainly McCain, as you said, was languishing second in that S2, but really got a nice toe off Jason Green and York Marnie to literally pull him along. So a great finishing position there for McCain, but it's still not over at the moment. Megan Overstreet coming around for another lap, currently down in P7th, but we saw her start in this position and bailing out of this lap, so she won't feature higher than P7th as she takes an alternate line. That's where I was on about the pit entry into Bathurst can easily catch drivers out, so pretty sure she doesn't want to be doing that in the race. But literally the qualifying is over. The drivers are allowed to finish their last lap, so is anyone going to move higher than you actually Lynn, or is Jason Green still going to be in second place? Only time will tell.
I think they're feeling it's going to be in second still, Andy. I can't see how I'm going faster. Quick look across to the chat. West Tech Esports Racing saying Yangshi is very quick down the S as well. Didn't we see that in the Formula Fords? Absolutely electric for the Chinese driver. Yugmani saying his bloody shifter could not shift down. It was too late for braking, but he does love this track. Marco Panero popping in and saying, hello, Marco, where are you? I need you racing here, my friend, not sat in the chat. Congratulations, though, to him on picking up the victory, though, in Spec 1 last season. Well, technically, it's still this season. if we're being pedantic about it. But not too far away from getting things kicked off next season. Only a week away here on Apex Racing TV. Make sure you join us for that one. But now it's all about our second of the runoffs here today. And who's going to take it? Will it be a double victory for Lynn? I mean, Andy, he's been electric, hasn't he? It's going to take a lot to displace him from that, surely.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Jason Green's time, he's still near enough 0.2 of a second off with a monster of a slipstream from York Marnie and still couldn't be able to overtake Lynn's time. So we didn't quite see Lynn's time to see how much of a slipstream he got, but exactly that. Down through that S as he is just the master of it. So, you know, if he's able to get out in front, he might find him pull away as well. She's doing exactly the same as she did earlier on in the qualifying session. It's maybe a little bit of a tricky track for Megan, certainly with that tendency to slide the cars, but we are standing by for an epic 40-minute race here, and it's just too hard to call. You know, it's just such one of them tracks that could easily catch any drivers out, as we saw in the Formula Fords.
Well, I've got 4 seconds left, Andy, until we can take you through the grid, until we can get underway for the second time here from Bathurst on Apex Racing TV in the run-offs to the Weekend Warriors. Here is your grid for the final race of this evening. Yang Jilin on pole with Jason Green with him in that mammoth final lap. Alan McCain as well, part of that tow group, getting him to third and top of the Spec 2 drivers. Ajay Patoni starts 4th next to McCain. Then it's Marnie at top of Masters qualifiers with Jeff Pritchard. Great lap from him. Got to the 3rd row. Row 4 is Overstreet and Santowski. Rodriguez is lies up alongside Dan Sadro to round out your top 10. Then Evandro Dantas will be disappointing in not making it into the top 10. He starts next to Bobby West. Then it's the 2 Aussies, an all Aussie row here. Phil Berry and Tom Gradwell. James Walker's got Kane Lasky for company on row 8. Row 9 is Simon Mayer, and our 3rd Aussie in the field is Brad Cathcart. Row 10 and the top 20 rounded out by Kurt Nunes and Flavio Andalo. Dan Wood, another driver, disappointed by his qualifying. He starts 21st alongside Javier Mosquera. Then we've got Ian Gibson and Aaron Vogler, who'll be looking for another repeat of Spec 2 victory here today on row 12. And then we've got... who's past them as we skip through. There we go. Andrew Love and Jason, Mitchell and Jackson on row 14. Row 15 is series organiser Stevie Ray with Darren Kuhn. Then we've got Bradford Gould and Charlie Vaccaro. And then not setting times, Caleb Pocock, Jeff Horniak and Dario Frattini. Which I don't think Frattini's going to make the grid as... oh, we're going to see a bit of another slow start from the safety car as well, like we had in the Formula Fords.
Only time will tell, I suppose, but maybe that Lynn was at the front of the Formula Ford, so I would expect him to try and push that Porsche safety car along a little bit faster. But it's going to be an interesting race, you know. And one of the things I'm sort of a little bit apprehensive about is Alan McCain. He's currently sat in 3rd place, top of the S2, and we all know, you know, if you're in a different class and you've got lots of S1 drivers or the higher classes around you, you sometimes get phased by it. So it's going to be interesting to see the sort of start that Alan McCain actually makes in this race. We saw him got an excellent slipstreaming off Jason Green to get him into that 3rd place. It's whether he can cement that and doesn't get overawed by the fact that a lot of S1 drivers are around him. So we'll shortly find out how Alan McCain gets on.
Definitely. I think by Alan's own admission, he's probably got a bit of a nosebleed. He's that high up the grid. But I've been looking forward to relishing the challenge to come around Murray's to get things started, and let's get ready to go racing for the second time this evening from Bathurst, folks, as we are green and we are go. And leads the field, but we're not 3 wide, we're 4 wide there on the run down towards Hell Corner. Hold tight, everyone, we're gonna make it through as they're still dropping down into 3 wides here, and they're 4 wide on the exit. 34 just being shuffled wide. Another Santonio race, I think, spat out on the opposite side. No, it was Rodriguez, in fact, who descends down through the order to the back of the field. Wow. And I'm still going 3 wide in the background there. What a sight as we come up the mountain for the first time in the SRFs. But Tony in a bit of a fight there. Jeff Pritchard elbows out into 4th. And Jason Green trying to get the move done, if that he has, on Yang Chi Lin.
Yeah, it definitely is a fast and frenetic start. A lot more chaotic than we saw in the Formula Fords. 2-3 wide coming through Hell Corner, and we just saw Rodriguez unfortunately coming the worst off there, turning his car around on the exit of Hell's Corner. But certainly a fast and frenetic start. And Jason Green, a great result to manage to get past up one place past Yuaxi Lin. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that position. But at the moment, he is heading out the field as they go over the mountain sections for the very first time.
Green leads from Lynn. Fritcher up 3 places into third. Bertoni fourth. Then McCain dropping. Dantas, good start for him up 5. Sadro, Overstreet, Lasky up 7. And then York-Marnie dropping 5. Still in that top 10. And still in a long train that doesn't stop until you get down to 31st Bradford Gould. That's all you need to know about the Weekend Warriors.
Yeah, it's just nose to tail. Luckily, no incidents over the mountain section at the moment, so they're all able to get through that part of the section relatively safely as they come down the Conroe Straight for the first time. You see Yuaxi Lin coming alongside Green there, managing to get the move done, so we can see the power of the slipstream there. Dantes and Sandro having a good battle. Sandro just managing to get that 6th place over Dantes for 7th overall, but that slipstream, like the Formula Fords, is super strong down the Conrod Straight.
Sinkowski having a bad start. He's down 12 spots into 20th. Starting to form a bit of a breakaway group. This top 4 right now. McCain merging in no man's land in 5th. With Sadro, Dantas, Overstreet and co. behind him right now. As we come across the line to complete our first lap here from Bathurst in SRF.
Definitely is. Lynn managing to keep that first place overall from Green at the moment, but it's certainly going to be another fast and frenetic race at the front with Lynn leading the way as they come down the mountain straight for the first time. You can just see the long line of cars behind. You see them all darting out towards the end, but these cars seem to be right at the end of the straight, so that's where they really pick up the speed from the slipstream. You can see Yuaxi Lin literally right on the rear of Jason Green, right on the rear of Yuaxi Lin's car here, looking at the front. So the power of that slipstream is super strong down both the mountain straight and the Conroe Straight. At the moment, Lin leading the way in the Formula Fords, but he's not getting it all his own way here early on in this 40-minute race.
They are way too close for my comfort, Andy, right now. Just a 10th and a half separating our top 2. And in fact, Bertoni, he's a 10th and a half behind Green right now. Knows on one of the tightest, treacherous and technical tracks on the iRacing service. Fraught with death and danger all up through the mountain. Green skimming the wall not once but twice as we descend down through into the dipper, crashing down through the corner, using that momentum to accelerate the way. And it's Yuaxi Lin, he's just pulled out that bit of a gap, Andy. 6 attempts to come out with a forest elbow and drop down Conrad for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think Bertoni is eyeing up that 2nd position from Green here. Looking back here from Yuaxi Lin to see the action, to see if Bertoni pulls out the slipstream early enough or makes a dive down into the chase to try and get that position. There we go. He is side by side. He does have that inside line, the vital inside line coming down into the chase. They are side by side. Bertoni managing to get ahead just before the corner of Green and near enough catching right up to Lin. He was 7/10 of a second fast to do some evasive maneuvers there to not go into the back of Lynn's car. So, you know, managing to get a really good tow there for Tony, getting that 2nd place off Green. But I mean, all down the field, I can just see the timing towers, how close they are all together. I mean, it's just insane, the action that we've got here tonight.
We were predicting before the show, would we have a big accident on the opening laps? And we haven't had it. Of them as Overstreet nearly there into the back of, I couldn't remember who it was. So engrossed in the moment I was. Well, it was York-Marnie. He's told him here by producer Josh. Oh wow, that's going to cost her dearly. That's Javier Mosquera, who was. No, I'm thinking of Juan Rodriguez, who came off another newcoming Spaniard to the series, who came off on the opening lap. But you see, Yuaxi Lin incredibly deep there. And he's going to lose. No, that's not Lin, apologies, is it? but yeah, running in deep a few of our drivers right now and getting caught out. It was Dan Sadro, in fact. Very similar style livery to Lynn, so that's why it caught me out. Although Lynn has more dark blue on his rather than the white side panels of Sadro. So on board with Jorg Marnie. That's Vandro Dantas in front of us. And they have lost touch with Fritcher in front of them.
Definitely have. We've got a breakaway group at the top of the pile, the top four managing to get away from the battle that we're currently watching on screen between Dantas and Mane. Mane in 6th place. A little bit of a gap. You can see the cars just in front going through. We'll have a good idea of the gap when we get onto the commerce. You can just see the blue car there of Fritcher in front, so a little bit of a gap, but you can just see the train here at the moment. Jorg Marnie all over the back of Dantas' car, and should get a really good tow again here down the Commonwealth Straight. Begin to stay with the battle just to see the power of this slipstream. You see there's no real closing up, and then all of a sudden that slipstream really pays dividends more towards the chase, and then it's like the slingshot effect coming there as Marnie easily breezes past Dantas to take that 5th place. And I think there's another car there just following in behind. I think that is Lasky.
It is Lasky indeed, Andy. And oh, a bit of a nudge there into the braking zone from Dantas on Marnie, just leaning on them for a bit of assistance in the braking zone. But Fritcher's got past. He's up into 3rd as Sadro says, nope, I've had enough. He bails. He heads through to take his mandatory pit stop. Although, can just get away with driving through the pits here today. And in doing so, that will... I mean, this could be advantageous because you'll get away from everyone. Yes, you'll lose the slipstream, but you won't get held up in traffic coming across the mountain. And, well, that could end up being potentially beneficial to you, providing a net overall gain.
100%. I mean, look at on screen how close the cars are together. You know, there's one accident away from a mass pile-up, certainly going up through the mountain section. So probably erring on the side of caution there, Sadro, and trying to get some free space to not be this close, because you can just sort of see the pockets of cars and how close they are, nose to tail. And you know, when you go on board with them, Tim, exactly like you're saying, uncomfortably close. All it would take is one tiny mistake from the driver in front and it could cause an issue. But at the moment, these drivers are well tuned to these cars, so it's going to take something extraordinary to catch one of them out. But that's all it'll take, mate, to lose quite a few of the top runners here.
It would be. There's a credible fine margin between winning and ending your race at any given moment. Dropping down through the dipper. You just see the way the cars leap down into that big drop in elevation. So look back from Lynn. Oh, I think something's happened to Dantas. He's losing places left, right, centre. He's lost 3, in fact. He was ahead of Marnie. He's now behind Walker, who's in 7th. Here comes Batoni, though, getting the move done early on Jeff Fritcher. Now that's interesting. Fritcher must have had a bit of a slow Forest elbow to facilitate that move. But Lynn's pulling away. Look at that, 1.3 seconds. And it's just race defining. Batoni says, I've had enough of this, Jason Green. I'm going to do you as well and get ahead. I want to lead here. I want to get after Lynn. I want to hunt down that gap because he's not going to have it as comfortable as he should be having it. 1.3 seconds, that's a lot to try and make up.
Yeah, it definitely is, but you just saw where Lynn managed to get his time coming down through the S's part of the section. He is just super quick there, gaining about half a second just through that section alone. Got a really good exit out the Forest elbow, and then Jason Green didn't have the best of exits, so that's where that gap grew, and Batoni paid full advantage of that by taking 2 positions over Fritcher and Green down that Commonwealth Straight. So it's now down to Batoni to see if he can try and claw back that 1.3 second gap. But I mean, just look at this big gaggle of cars here. I mean, it's just nose to tail in this midfield battle. Currently, you can see there 44 Megan Overstreet had a little bit of an incident coming through Hell's Corner, come out wide, but trying to make her way back up through the field as she looks at Nunez taking it up, coming up to Griffin's Bend. And let's just get the move done. Nice position made there by Megan Overstreet.
There's no let up, is there, whatsoever? Our pro producer Josh keeps saying, I'm going to try and get a mock replay in for you. Then something happens, then something else happens. Here we go. A slight break in the action. Let's find out. So this is Yogmani. What happened to him? So he was, that's Lasky in front of him and the 96 of James Walker. So he gets it in front. Does he understeer out wide? Ooh, a bit close there, but no, looking okay.
I think that was a 2-for-1, wasn't it? That was
it was, wasn't it?
Game. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Lovely little move from him. Let's see what else we can bring with exactly what else happened out in the field. So this is what happened to Neil Sentowski, who didn't have the best of times in the Formula Ford. I see an incident from the smoke and here, a bit of crashing in front of him. Oh, yes. Who was that in front of him? That was the 921 of Charlie Vaccaro. He'd already had his own incident. So here's Flavio Andalo. Now, Andalo was running well, the Brazilian. Oh, no, Andy. I feel what's going to happen already. Well saved.
Well saved. Easily to spin that.
Now Paul Jackson, the Brit. Is it going to end in disappointment for him? Also crash in front of him, and that's Charlie Vaccaro again. Was that the precursor that what we then saw Charlie Vaccaro making contact with Sendkowski, potentially?
I think it probably was, but it just illustrates, you know, a lot of them crashes that we just saw were basically not of their own devices. It's basically somebody in front of them spins out, like you were saying earlier on, in that mountain section. It's so tight and so narrow that it's super hard that if a car in front spins, then basically it just basically you're sitting duck, you know. And 2 out of 3 of them were of that exact incident where a car spun in front and unfortunately had nowhere to go.
There's a few drivers heading through, taking their mandatory pit stops. Ray, Jason, Jackson, you just saw heading in there. Sendkowski being another one. There's Sean McCain right now. As showing a couple of technical difficulties right now. It's just some yearning under the action and the excitement. Can't cope with it as Yang Zhilin still winning though, but that gap, Andy, crucially is dropping to 9/10 of a second. It, you know, we had opened up a bit further. It was about 1.4 seconds back to Bertoni.
I think I did see the gap come down to around about 0.3 of a second. So it must be that you actually is going through that down through the S's into the dipper, you know, which is the extreme part where you actually Lynn is super quick to be able to push that gap out. We did see that gap slightly coming down to around about 0.7 of a second, and again it's rose to above a second between Yoaxi Lin and Jason Green. So certainly the top 3 at the moment, top 4 at the moment, massively pulled away from Kane Lasky in 5th place. The tune of around about 5 seconds is the gap. So the top 4 certainly have managed to get away.
Seems battle up front. I mean, I still notice the tail, aren't they? I mean, they are shrinking down, in fact, between the lot of them right now. As we see Bertoni, I mean, wow, still well winning the fight here. And it just, I mean, Jeff Fritcher having the drive of his life to stick up, keep up with these 3. See, so the pace that we've seen displayed from Yang Zhilin in both races so far, I was astounded with where he's found this one from. He's absolutely flying here in Australia.
He certainly is. I mean, like you were saying at the start, is he going to start from the back of the field? I think it was very much a wise decision to put in a fast lap to try and get himself up to the top of the grid. He did start in 4th position, managed to gain 1 position at the moment, currently lying in 3rd place, and you've just been seeing him picking him earlier on, picking him quite a few of the laps to try and get him up, but seen a bit of a battle at the front as well, just fractionally there. Jason managed to take the lead over Lynn in 1st place. Lynn's managed to keep that 1st place for the moment, but it's certainly heating up, and you know, that's the thing with this track is that you can get away at front, but then if the guys behind start playing a little bit of ball, using the slipstream in an advantage, that gap can come super quick. We can see the gap now 0.3 of a second. Just stick with this battle and watch how Lynn, coming down through the section of the track, manages to get that gap out. So up there in the timing tower at about 1/10 of a second, and there you can see it starting to creep up slightly because Lynn is super quick down this part of the section. So I'd expect it to raise to around about 1/2 a second as he really has this dialed
Totally in the wall.
Oh!
That's him gone. That's surely Petoni going to be gone now. I just saw him, Andy, at the corner of the screen just drift a little bit wide. And that's why Frisch just... he's drifted wide in an attempt to try and keep the power down and stay in touch with Lynn and Green. And how much damage have those two incurred?
And a bit of pinball down through the dipper there, these two, Petoni and Fritcher. But you can sort of see there, unfortunately, Lynn did not get the gap that he wanted. Down to 0.2 of a second, not able to make the pass here, Green. But you can just see how quick Lynn is down that part of the section. He has just enough of a gap to be able to make it super hard for Green to pass him down the corner straight. So his tactics at the moment are paying off massively with that part of the section where Lynn is super quick on track. But Jason Green is certainly not giving up. Super close, 0.3 of a second. These two are now away from Fritcher and Bertoni after they play pinball down through the dipper. They are in 3rd and 4th from their own little battle. Big shout out, I suppose, as well to Alan McCain. You know, I did have a little bit of reservations at the start as we see Lynn doing a little bit of a weaving work down the mountain straight, but to no avail. Green is able to make the move coming down into Griffin's Bend. So a new leader here, Green in #1 position.
Has Lynn got a problem? He's lost quite a bit of time, Andy, and he seems to be slowing up a little bit. I say that, he's picking up the pace once again, actually gaining on Green, so maybe not, but a bit of an odd weave from Lynn. They're heading up the mountain.
I think that's what caused him to lose a lot of pace, because he was weaving quite aggressively, and to me it looked like his car slid when he moved over to the inside of the track a little bit, which would have scrubbed a little bit of his speed, which was able Green to get by. But I think there's nothing wrong with Lynn's car. It was just over aggressive weaving to try and break what is a super strong slipstream there. But joining back out of this battle with Petoni and Fritcher.
I'm not convinced, Andy. 7, make it 8, make it 9/10, make it a second between Green and Lynn. I'm not convinced something's happened. I mean, we'll see now as he's more time out of Green's lead. I'm not convinced about Lynn. There's something going on right now. Is it potentially hardware or something? I mean, why lift there as well?
He is erratic, innit? His gears are super erratic. He's got a shifting problem, looks like, on his car. He's not changing gears at the optimum. You can hear the car. It's almost like it's hunting down the straight. So certainly sounds like he's got a bit of a hardware issue.
Well, disappointing if he has, because, well, he looked destined potentially to make it 2 wins from 2. So he runs wide and deep there into the chase. And this is playing all into the hands of Jason Green, but also into Bertoni, who's dropped Fritcher. Well, this is suddenly flipped on its head, hasn't it? Fritcher comes into the pit lane, as Fritcher's had an incident, I've been told, in my ear. So that's why he's lost a lot of time. McCain into the pit. Let's find out how Fritcher did it, Andy.
To be honest, I think it might be down through the chase, possibly. Oh, no.
Forest elbow.
Forest elbow, extremely wide there. And Bertoni just sailed on through.
2 laps in a row, that, isn't it? Because, of course, he had it on the previous lap, didn't he? Where he just skimmed the wall while he was trying to stay in tow with everyone. And, well,
that's the problem when you push it, isn't it? When you try and push in well above your abilities, that you are a lot prone I suppose you're more prone to make your mistakes, and that's that's what you get sucked into when you're in that battle at the front runners. You think, I need to stay with these guys, I need to push it, and like you said, 2 laps in a row, he made a slight mistake coming out of Forest Elbow, and obviously we saw the previous lap playing pinball. Same with Bertoni, but unfortunately, losing a bit of time.
It's put pace to his race, Andy, because he had to stop, take his fast repair, not just drive through the pit lane. And in doing so, he's come out behind McCain, Marnie, Overstreet, Walker, and West, who all have pitted so far.
Definitely is. So not really a pain there, but at the moment you got Bertoni around about 2.4 seconds behind that battle in front between Green and Lynn. You can see there that whatever issue Lynn had, it looks like it's sort of possibly resolved itself down to half a second. There's a gap with Bertoni again. Hits the wall on the exit of Forest Elbow, and has that put any damage? He's certainly pushing that car to the absolute limit.
Got to be frustrated as the Uruguayan, because he was in with the fight of the victory here today, Andy, and well, looks like that's moved away. And as you said, Andy, looks like any of those issues that Lynn might have been happening have gone away fully. So reclaims the lead and runs in that's a little bit deep once again. That's 2 laps in a row. Gonna see either of them dart into the pit lane. No, they keep. Oh, the fake from Yangji Lin. Green carries on for one more time. As Lin heads to pit road. I tell you what, he took that with absolute laser precision, didn't he?
He certainly did. Got it down to that speed into the pit. Didn't lose a fraction of a second, did Lin. So it's going to be all now down on Green. Can he push this out lap to try and get a bit of a gap when he does come in for his pit stop over Lin? But Lin at the moment is probably in the driving seat. Will have the slipstream of the other cars as well, so won't be losing out at all on that, and that may pay to his advantage. So it's going to be interesting to see. Green, as we all know, a master tactician. What is he going to do about this? Is he going to pit straight away this first lap to mitigate any time that he might lose, or is he going to try and push it all the way to the end? But I'm pretty sure whatever way he does, it always turns out golden for Green.
Lynn in a bit of traffic there, comes out alongside Kurt Nunes as Aaron Vogler in front of him. Lynn is definitely quicker than Vogler, and that's no disrespect to the American in front of Lynn. And this could be really telling, because Green going one more lap in fresh air could be enough to get ahead of Lynn and get that big jump and that big buffer that he wants and so much craves at this stage of the race. And we've done 23.5 minutes of racing, Andy. I don't know where that time has gone. It seems like 5 in some ways. Lap 10 already.
Yeah, it's just flown by. You know, I think what Green might do now is actually go further into the race to try and extend that lead. So if he's looking at his time in tower, he would have seen how Lynn was caught up in that sort of 4th to 7th position. So if he comes into the pits now, he's going to be caught up in the same traffic. So what he might do is he may extend his pit stop to try and gain a little bit more time in that window to be able to come out in front of him. So he's not as impeded as what we just saw Lynn being with the slower drivers behind him. So I think that Green may go a few more laps before he decides to come in. But you can see Bertoni in the background still lurking there, just to pick up any scraps from any mistakes. But as we've seen previous, Bertoni pushing it to the absolute limit to try and close down the gap. You see it's 2.2 seconds, so you see Green there going past the pits again. So I think he might be going a little bit later on.
Bertoni carries on too, as well as meanwhile this battle that's had us intrigued for quite a bit of the race. Aaron Vogler into the pits, so comes Kurt Nunes. That's going to help out Yangshi Lin at a time where he desperately needed to clear that traffic. Walker trying to make his way past Bobby West just in front of him. There's Vogler and Nunes heading down pit road. And who's that else into the pit lane with them? That's Tom Gradwell just in the background there in the 909 machine. Also Caleb Pocock entering through as well. That's Caleb, the American, heading through. So, yet to stop, Andy. Flavio Andalo, Brad Cathcart, who are 5th and 6th respectively. And then our top 3 of Green, Bertoni, and Kane Lasky, who started right near the back, had a dismal qualifying, has made up 13 places so far. We'll lose some of them during his pit stop. But definitely gunning for a good result here. And Darlow, he's up 15, but of course yet to stop. Cathcart up 12, but yet to stop as well. Actually, Steve Mitchell hasn't stopped either. He's currently in 18th place, is the Dane. And other than that, everyone has. So Lynn, the highest of the drivers, who has stopped so far, he's in 4th, and the driver to keep an eye on. So that delta looking at about 14 seconds roughly, isn't it? From a driver that has pitted as Bertoni. Was that another slight mistake from him? I think it was. He's losing a lot of time.
He's got to have some damage on that car, which is going to be affecting his aero. Certainly coming down this part of the section, you want your car to be in tip-top shape to be able to do the quick changes that the cars need to be doing. And I think by hitting the wall, I think probably that is his third occasion into the barriers, that would have caused some aero damage. So I would imagine it's quite a handful for him to try and get down through the back end of the mountain section. But Lynn at the moment has got his fresh air at the moment, trying to chase down Lasky, who is still yet to pit. But it's going to be interesting now to see what Green does, because Lynn is now in a bit of free air. Green is obviously been in free air for this entirety, and there he goes. He's coming into the pits now, so it's going to be good to see where Green comes out in relation to Lynn. Is he going to be ahead, or has he lost a large portion of time? I wouldn't imagine so, with Lynn being caught up in that midfield traffic, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless. You can see Lynn there just in the background, just coming through. There he is, just coming over the start-finish line now. It's going to be close. Certainly is going to be close.
Lynn's going to have the momentum, though, isn't he, coming out of Cal Corner? I'll tell you what, he's done it. He's not just done it, he's done this comfortably, Andy, because Green is only just emerging out of the pit lane. So despite being caught up in traffic, Yangshi Lin has pulled 2 seconds on Jason Green.
I think it was that last lap, to be honest. 2:28 from, sorry, a 2:26.5 from Lynn and a 2:27.5. So a second of that was on that last lap. So Lynn really putting the hammer down to force Jason Green to go into the pits, really. I don't think he had much of an option.
No, not at all. And, well, Kane Lasky now your leader, but he is yet to stop. There is Lynn, your net leader, Cathcart. None of the drivers yet to stop by my recollection, yes. That is James Walker in front of him. He's got Bobby West behind. So Bobby West has dropped a couple of places because Walker was behind him. And Darlow now leads this group for, well, it's essentially for 13th place. Although Lasky's going to come out in amongst this lot too.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm just looking down the timing tower, and you see from 4th to 7th some really big gains. 16 places for Fabio Andelo, but he's yet to stop. James Walker up 10 places. He already stopped, so he is going to gain another place when Flavio comes in, and possibly another one when Kane Lasky comes in. So he could be up 12 places. Then you got Brad Cathcart in 6th place, up 12, but he's yet to pit with Bobby West. But then you look from P8 down to P11th. You've got Jorge Marni down 3 places from where he started. Megan Overstreet behind Jorge Marni down 2 places. Jeff Pritchard down 4 places. And Alan McCain down 8 places. But still, you're leading S2 from starting 3rd on the grid. So, yeah, some big movers and shakers in the field in this race, and some big winners and some big losers, really.
That's Marnie. Oh, trying to make the double there. Couldn't quite slot it through the gap. This is him and West to pass Cathcart. Cathcart, the Aussie, dropping down into 8th, as you mentioned, yet to stop. We'll see him come in this lap, maybe next time around. There's McCain getting stuck in. Dan Sadra involved him too. Then it's Dan Tass and Vogler at the back of this group, looking for another great result for a win in Spec 2. Let's got McCain in this group as well, so it's not out of the question. I'll tell you what, for a driver who's been most improved for me over the last couple of seasons, apologies, you'd have to provide a really strong argument to fight against Aaron Vogel being one of those drivers.
Yeah, it certainly is, and there's one to look out for next season in that S2. And after a great win in the Formula Fords, he's looking to do the double here today in the SRF. So wouldn't put it past him. He is in the same group here as Kane. McCain, you can see there the car just in front of the one who goes extremely wide. He goes extremely wide, so that is going to compromise his speed. Can Aaron get him going up into the cutters? I don't think so. He's just going to tuck in nicely behind it, but he's going to have a go.
He's now in prime position now, isn't he? With 9 minutes left on the clock, Andy, to try and make it Spec 2 wins from 2. Wow, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Yeah, in the runoffs. Oh, running in a bit. I think it's that Paul Jackson, maybe just running in a bit wide as well. Actually, I think it might have been Jeff Horniak. Apologies. Yeah, just trying to keep out of everyone's way. It's so hard to do around this circuit, though. There's nowhere for you to go. And what takes you off the racing line, then quickly peers you back on the racing line. It's such a challenge. But Andalo, net third place, or is he? Because we reckoned at about 13 seconds being that delta. And look what Lasky is right now. He's about 13 seconds. This could be enough. He still leads, but still yet to stop. Walker ahead of Andalo. When will Lasky pit? I mean, he can go around again. And that's going to be it. He's going to pit this time. No, he's going again. He's going one more time. It's KJ Lasky. Ooh, wow. I mean, what a turn up for the books could that one be? Having started all the way down in 16th to get onto the podium. Stunning result indeed. Cathcart, he's bailed. He's in. On the last few to stop. I just don't know. Well, I mean, Lynn, what an outstanding performance. He's pulled out another second and a half over Green. That's all come on the last lap, hasn't it? Alone. Lynn is flying.
Certainly is. He's certainly putting the hammer down since his pit stops. He got caught out a little bit when he came in for his pit stop, but since he got that free air, he's just pulled away from Green. There's nothing that Green can do about it, and averaging around about a second lap quicker than Green at the moment is Lynn. But interesting battle that we're watching here for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Andalo at the moment still owing us a pit stop, so he will go down the order. But it's certainly going to be interesting between Walker, West and Marnie. Marnie currently your top master driver. We saw him in the Formula Fords, not having the best of day, but here a completely different ball game. 7 minutes left of this race, well ahead of the next nearest master, who's Mitchell in P15. So sort of running away with the master field, but really wants to mix it up with these S1 drivers, and at the moment has an opportunity for a top 4 finish.
Well, it's only about a year ago that young Marnie came of age and dropped out of Spec 1 and into Masters to join Antonio Races, a good friend and competitor. Just gutted about Andres Bertoni because he has retired back on lap 10. Also lost Juan Rodriguez, then 2. Frattini and Love did not make the start. They're the only 4 retirements so far. Santowski had a big moment, and that's obviously what's cost him dearly, dropping those 23 places down to 31st. So let's have a little look back at what happened to Andres Bertoni and how it all unfolded for him and what caused it. There we go, you can see exactly what caused it. I mean, that's so unlucky for him. I mean, it's just all sort of to fall apart, didn't it? And
I mean, he was pushing, wasn't he? He was super pushing to try and catch Green to get that second place over Green and try and get himself back up to the Lynn Green battle, but unfortunately, pushed it that little bit.
Lasky's in. Look at that. Where's he going to come out? Well, he's going to be, probably not as far up as what he thought he would be. So that's Jeff Fritcher, I do believe, having in front of him. Yes, it is. Overstreet, another driver, he'll be disappointed by her result. Down 2 places. She's into 9th, but behind Lasky now. As Bobby West now takes it. You can just see it up in the top of your screen there. Heads past James Walker. He's up into 3rd overall right now. The Flying Brit looking to bring this one down home down under. But this realistically could go to anyone between West, Walker, Marnie, or Andalo. A 4-way fight for the last place on the podium, Andy. On what is going to be. Now, where is Lynn? Let's have a quick look. So he's about halfway around the lap. 2 minute 26. I think this could be the penultimate lap.
If it is, then Andalo's probably in a little bit of trouble because he is still yet to pit along with Steve Mitchell. So, you know, he needs to pit this lap to make sure. So he'll be out of that battle. So it's certainly going to be between Bobby Rest, James Walker and Jorg Marnie who can take the last spot on the podium. But one driver who is certainly having it all his own way is actually Lynn here in 1st place. Had a little bit of a battle with Green. You can just see Green now just falling away 5 seconds behind Lynn, and really got it done in that round of pit stops, and the consequent laps after the pit stops has really put the hammer down, and you can sort of see the times difference. About a second a lap, about 0.8 of a second a lap quicker on average, faster than Green. But joining back up now, and we see a change here. Walker managing to get past West, and is Marnie going to try and follow suit on the inside? Has to brake a little bit early, so not able to get the move done here. So Walker is your new 3rd place driver. West following closely behind with Marnie. So these 3 are just going to be battling out on what is probably the penultimate lap here of
when they cross the line, that will be white flag in the air. Well, it won't be. Look,
no, it won't.
Arnie's not. He's not waving that flag. So we've still got. This is the penultimate lap they're heading on to now. Hold on. This would be the penultimate, wouldn't it? Because it'd be next time we with the final one. We'll get there in the end. We'll get there in the end. So Stephen Mitchell has pitted. Flavio Andalo hasn't, but he can come in at the end of this lap. So that's not the end of the world, but he will drop out of this battle massively. This is advantage Bobby West. He slots up the inside of James Walker there, the Canadian, down to 4th. Not the end of the world. And it could well actually be that, you know, you're better off just sat but basically not being lead car of this group, coming down Conrod Straight for the final time.
100%. You know, you've seen the power of that slip. You certainly, as they hit the chase, you know, if you're that leading car, you're a sitting duck for the car directly behind you. But Jorg Marnie at the moment has been sort of conservative. He's had to brake quite hard into the corners and quite early to try and overshoot. So I wouldn't rule out Jorg Marnie making a 2 for 1. Certainly, if the front two start getting a little bit more defensive and Jorg basically takes the driving line and the slingshot out at the last corner, that he could get the opportunity to make the 2 for 1 down that Conrod Straight. But at the moment, you can sort of see there West leading this group with Walker in 4th, Marnie just behind. And it's all about the exit out of that corner. You've just seen Flavio Andalo go there. You really need that flying start out of the Forest Elbow to make it. And you can just see here how much of a sitting duck that front car is as Walker just breezes on by West to take that 3rd place. But it'd probably be advantageous to just let West back through, because now Walker's at the front. He is a sitting duck. But I suppose you do have that mountain straight, which Walker will probably try and take back the lead. But if he's got a little bit of ounce about him, he will just stick behind Walker's car to be able to get that slingshot down the Conrod Straight, because you can just see how quickly and how easy it is as you see Andalo just coming in for his drive-through, regulated drive-through. So he's going to be going down the order. So it's going to be between Walker, West and Marnie who gets that last 3rd position.
Here we go, folks. White flag in the air. 1 lap left to go. What tactic will these 3 employ for last place on the podium here in the runoffs? And right now, West just tucking in behind, not making any moves. Marnie just pulls out of the slipstream, looking to get second in line. Walker tries to cover it off, but Marnie could do the double here into the braking zone. And wow, he's in front, but does he want to be there? I don't think he does. Andy doesn't think he does, but let's find out if he's going to be in the right place at the right time. As there's Lynn. Wow. I mean, he's backing off. He doesn't care. He's going to win this one at the can. Just needs to bring it home.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I thought Marnie would be coming back from the back of that group to the front, because the front two, Walker and West, did not want that first place. So they were probably backing off slightly, which gave Marnie the emphasis to go through. I suppose he had to make that decision to go through because he wasn't able to make the passing move on the previous 2 or 3 laps. He was getting caught up. So I think West now is probably in the worst position, being in that 3rd position, because you've got Walker there, who's in the perfect position. The Canadian has got the perfect slipstream coming down that Conroe straight. Marnie will be open to the slipstream, obviously, but West will find it extremely hard to try and make that pass and move, because Walker in front of him has got the slipstream off Marnie. So it's going to be an interesting last Conroe straight between these 3. But I think Bobby West, unfortunately, has lost out here, as you've just seen Walker just coming up alongside here. Marnie going alongside, getting that inside line, coming out of the chase. Sorry, coming down in through the chase as we watch Yuaxi Lin, as you said, had a canter in this last lap, just taking the checkered flag.
Easy stuff, bringing it home, the Chinese driver. Great display from him to make it 2 wins from 2 here in the runoffs. Great stuff from him, but Marnie's gone. Something's happened to him in the death of Walker. Well, West is alongside now. Look at KJ Lasky fighting it out with Fritcher. As who's going to get it? Well, it's Walker's going to pick up that last podium spot. And Fritcher just beats Lasky. Is there even 3 wide in the background there? I'll tell you what, it's all happening. But what happened to York Marnie?
It's got to be coming down into the chase, isn't it? Because the last time we saw them, they were just coming down the Conroe straight. So there's a bit of an incident there coming into the chase. You know, Marnie had to do something. He was that front gunner, so he had to do something to try and save it. But I think what possibly happened, he went extremely deep into the chase and literally just went off slightly wide. I suppose he had to put it all on the line because he was a sitting duck to Walker.
I mean, he got plenty of time back to Kurt Nunez, who's second in the Masters. So it was all or nothing. You know, he could make that roll of the dice. There's someone in the background there just sticking it in the wall. Traditional style here for the Weekend Warriors. So there comes Kelly Poker across the line. Good result for him, up 11 spots. Highest position climb in the end was Walker, who was up 12. No, I apologise. Well, Aaron Vogley has done it again. 2 wins from 2 in Spec 2. What a night for him in the runoffs.
Definitely is. I mean, he's certainly one to watch in the upcoming series of both the Formula Fords and the SRF, winning both of them here tonight. Certainly not making it easy, and it wasn't easy for him. He had to really push hard to get it. Oh, there's what happened.
So he made contact with West. I just managed to catch it out of the corner of my eyes. We saw, I'm still seeing Lasky and Fritcher banging doors there. We know how that one ended with Fritcher ahead. But, oh, 3 wide. What a move. And Walker, despite being in front, and they just came together on the exit of the corner.
I'll tell you what, Marnie's done an exceptional job to keep ahead up to that stage, because Walker was not far behind. So Margie must have hit the nitrous button to keep himself in the fray going through the chase.
Well, because it is such a long straight, Conrad, you can effectively slipstream someone and then slipstream them again. It's a fact, it's similar to like Fuji. We saw that not this season, season before. Was it? No, it was this season. I apologise. I mean, wow, what a season. What a runoffs. Double win in each of our categories. Double win for Lynn, double win for Vogley, and Was it not a double win for Marnie? I didn't
No, he
make
crashed
notes.
out, didn't he?
He
crashed
did,
out
yes.
on
Oh,
the-
York, you've
unfortunately.
ruined our.
Ruined it. Ruined the
Oh,
start.
I mean, what a pattern that would have been. And
It would have been,
possibly the first time we've ever had that happen in the runoffs. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers who wait for the last few to come across the line before we bring you some Class 5 results. First off, let's have a chat to York Marnie. York, that final lap, my friend. You kept us on our toes the whole way. We thought you'd lost it. And then you got back alongside, and it was you and Bobby West, and then just came together, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was quite an intense last few corners, I think. And didn't thought I will get them both on the straight, but I did. I had such a great run out of the elbow corner, as usual. I don't know what I did always right there. I'm always catched up. But my start was not really, really fun. I just got nailed in turn 1. And then I immediately lost the draft of the leaders, and then I was gone actually with a little bit of damage. But the last lap was intense and great. Yeah, I loved it.
It was, I mean, absolutely astounding. Just talk us through the opening stages, though. I mean, everyone knows the tail for so much of it. How would you play that one out, tactics-wise? Or even just stress-wise. I mean, we were both nervous, sat in the commentary booth, just watching you all be, 1 or 2 attempts from each other in one long line.
I have not to get stressed out because I'm getting into an age where heart attacks might be possible in a race. So no, no, it was quite fun, but certainly my spotter said, one inside was already too late. So what is done, is done. And stress-wise, it wasn't that stressful at all. It was just a fun, except the start. But I almost messed up my drive-through as well with Megan, because she said now, and I said, oh shit, I just have to turn in.
I mean, let's quick mention about the Formula Fords. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it 2 wins for 2 like Yangshi Lin and Aaron Vogel managed to in their categories. I mean, that looks like a rough affair.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Formula Ford anyway, and I definitely love Bathurst. And it took me a while at the beginning of when I joined iRacing for at least 2 seasons until I could do actually 1 lap on this track. And since then, I fell in love in this track, and I did it a few times with the reticle. I won races there on the reticle, and yeah, I was really, really up to it. But it was a lot of fun, like always. The V runoffs are great ending of the season.
Tell you what, talking the radicals, bring back the SR8, I say. Great car.
Yeah, I'm up with you. I'm definitely agreeing with you, but please, open setup, no fixed setup.
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. But, well, even so, congratulations, York, winner here today in the SRFs in the Masters. Well, Andy, who have you managed to grab for a chat?
I've managed to get the man of the moment, Aaron Vogel. Aaron, welcome to the booth. 2 from 2 tonight. Was you even thinking at the start of the night that was actually on the cards?
I'll be honest, I didn't even think I was going to do this race until like